you'll be out there wondering where you're going to live when your job's end.
Okay, Mr. McCain.
Okay, I personally don't buy into man-made global warming, and apparently not too many people do anymore because now they're calling it climate change. Climate change, absolutely. The climate is always changing. Are we affecting it? Possibly some, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. My opinion is, especially like with vehicles we drive, things like that, I say let the free market run. You know, people will buy what they want, and when gas went up to $4 a gallon, the small cars started coming back again. Things like that will dictate what will happen in this economy. But I just don't. There's plenty of things we can do. Plenty of things we can do. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to bring it up. I have written an energy plan, and I've submitted it to the Heritage Foundation. I won't go into it now because it's in its infancy. But this plan will, in effect, provide a lot of money for research and development for alternative fuel sources, even though I believe we should be looking for those. But, and the good part about it is it won't cost the taxpayers a single penny. So hopefully if this organization would like to take a look at what I have to offer, I'll show it to them. It's the QT right now because, like I say, it's in infancy.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Berry.
No, and I won't believe it until Al Gore gives up his large homes, his private jet, and his big cars. And when we have some people that are pushing this only to make money, that make billions off of it, then I think they have an ulterior motive, and no, I don't think so.
Okay, ma'am, since you referenced transportation, we'll stick with you on this one. Federal transportation funding has historically, as you know, favored automobiles over all other forms of transportation. What are your thoughts on national transportation funding priorities? Where should we be spending that money?
Well, we certainly shouldn't have spent it here in the state of Florida on high rail as far as our state, I can tell you, because all we did was help to make CSX richer. As far as nationally, I'm not sure the government really should be that involved except with our interstate highways. It should be left more to the states. We could do some with possibly some high-speed rail that would help us move our commercial goods a little better, but I'm just really not for the federal government being as involved in everything. I don't believe constitutionally that was one of their jobs. I know we now have the interstate highways, so they do have to help with that. But unless we can come up with a system that is definitely going to move commercial goods in a better manner than what we have right now, then I'm not really in favor of the federal government being involved in it.
All right, ma'am. Mr. McNeil.
Well, just give you one illustration. The more you put the government in charge of things, the bigger mess you're going to have, and that's just as simple as it is. You can believe it or not believe it, that's going to be the case. Take a place like England. England is about 92% of the size of Louisiana, but the population is only 1/8 of America in all our states. So our states are so spread out, and it's too difficult to have public transportation where it's controlled by the government, where you got either bus systems or train systems and so forth. It's not like Europe. It is so highly densely populated. So it didn't lend itself for that kind of transportation. What we've got to do is let the free minds work, let the free enterprise system work to give you the best vehicles at the highest mileage and the lowest cost that can be done. And we'll do just that in this country, and we'll have that. And supply and demand handles it all if you get the government out of the way.
Okay, and we wrap it up with you, Mr. McCain.
Okay. Well, again, road infrastructure, I know our bridges, I come from West Virginia, let me tell you what, we don't have a bridge up there that can hold the weight of a car. We really do need to look into those kind of things. But public transportation, it seems like it always ends up being something the public has to sustain once it's put in place. And I really don't think that's something we should do. If it was a good idea, as with this high-speed train, if it was a good idea, free market would have done it. So I do believe that we should, again, I cannot disagree here at all, the free market needs to run, the federal government needs to do just what the federal government is supposed to do, and quit overstepping its bounds.
Alrighty, we get into some individual questions here, and again, if the audience has any that they would like to put into the mix, we have some cards in the back. You can fill those out. And folks, this will be individual. But here's what you can do also. If on your question you could wrap it up a little bit more quickly, you can get back and address someone else's question if you would like to weigh in on that. So we'll try to keep that as flexible as we can. Okay, all in 90 seconds, of course. If we can start with you, Mr. McNeil, how would you help restore and protect the Gulf Coast after the Deepwater Horizon situation and other related environmental degradation that's been going on out there in the Panhandle?
Well, for one, I wouldn't be hiring people that were in the oil industry to be the people who are inspecting the rigs, and you got to put some real teeth into the inspection process and the specifications for how all these wells have to be drilled and handled. Again, I'm a proponent of OSC2, have nothing to do with the company other than I know it works. It's on every Navy ship in America. It's on Eglin Air Force Base. It's cleaned up 14,000 oil spills worldwide without any problem, and it solves the problem of cleaning up the oil spills and the grasses and the estuaries, all of it without any damage. You can gargle with this stuff, but it will make that oil float until it is, until you either skim it off or till the oil eats itself with its own enzymes. And that's what I'm pushing. It's OSC2 by OSI International. Look that up on the website and you'll see what I'm talking about.
All right, very good. Ms. Berryhill, your thoughts on comprehensive climate and energy legislation such as Waxman-Markey or the American Power Act? And if you aren't in favor, how would you propose to deal with energy and climate change, if that's applicable?
Well, first of all, I don't think we have climate change. I think if you look over the history of our climate, you'll find that we're just in a different cycle as we go through every 100 years or so. No, I just really and truly do not believe that the federal government needs to be involved in any policy as far as the energy is involved. That's something that should be handled on a state's basis. Our government gets too involved in too many things. And right now, I mean, they've got us spending millions and millions of dollars, and in fact, billions. And if they try to get cap and trade through, that's just going to run business out of our country. So I'm not in favor of that, and I would like to see the federal government out of less of the state's business and less of our business.
Okay, Mr. McCain, raising taxes in the current political climate, of course, everyone agrees that that is not viable. At the same time, though, as you mentioned, coming from West Virginia, and I was right down the road from y'all in Maryland, so I'm with you, I understand. Our transportation infrastructure is in significant need of repair or replacement, even in Florida. So would you support a user fee, some kind of surcharge at the gas purchases? How would you pay for improving transportation infrastructure that falls under the government's bailiwick?
Okay, I think it's really simple, actually. Taxing people more money is not going to get the job done. It's proven it's not going to get the job done. Look at history, it repeats itself, and we're repeating it right now. We need to get back to the era where we actually start giving people more of their money through taxes. Now, I personally am a very big proponent of the fair tax. Fair tax, in my opinion, will open this government up to funds that it's never seen before. It won't go into effect immediately, but I do believe we need to roll taxes back. And as shown during the Reagan administration, and as shown during the Kennedy administration, this works. It brings more money into the government, it gives people more money, and it makes more jobs. So for this reason alone, I believe that that is really the answer to the whole situation. It's just rolling the taxes back and letting people keep more of their money, and it does bring more money into the federal government.
Okay, here's one for everyone. If we could start with Ms. Berryhill and just roll on down the road here. Oil supplies about 40% of total U.S. energy consumption and more than 95% of the energy used for our transportation system. Our country imports about 70% of the oil we use. Energy industry publications have been just chock-a-block with articles recently about the possibility of something called near-term peak oil, the time when world oil production would reach its all-time highest level and then begin to decline. And the question is, are you aware of the international strategic level concern about peak oil, and if so, what your position is to the urgency of dealing with this problem at the level of the 2nd Congressional District? Ms. Berryhill.
Well, as far as dealing with the 2nd Congressional District, I'd like to see Florida drilling. I'd also like to see us drilling in Anwar and in the other areas that we know